Welcome to the Do Good Maverick Go podcast, episode number 50. I thought I'd make an episode about the paid community owner that is working less than 4 hours per week and earning about 18,000 euros in profit per month. A few weeks ago, I interviewed a guy about his paid community success story. I'm working on this project about paid community success stories. I'm interviewing 30 people that is running a paid community that is making at least $10,000 in profit per month. And then I'm turning those 30 interviews into a book, a course, and a community as well. All of this is for my online education and community platform that I call Terrific 30. But yeah, when it comes to the 4-hour work week, is it really possible? You have the classic book, The 4-Hour Work Week, Escape 9 to 5, Live Anywhere, and Join the New Rich by Timothy Ferriss. It was published in 2006, I think. Let me check real quick when this was first published. Yeah, I think it was 2006 or 2007. The 4-Hour Work Week was published. And after that, there's been a lot of discussions and stuff about the 4-hour work week. Is it really possible? Is the whole thing a scam? Some people even claiming that Tim Ferriss himself, the author, had also admitted that the whole thing was just a lie, basically. But I've never heard him say that myself. I think that's just made up stuff. A few years ago, he actually made a podcast episode. I think he titled it The 4-Hour Work Week Revisited, where Tim Ferriss basically talked about the book, how things had been after the book, and then he also mentioned that thousands of people had now built those types of businesses. And by those types of businesses, I think kind of similar as the 4-hour work week. But how many success stories there are, who knows? But yeah, I posted in a Facebook group asking if one of the few solid Facebook groups I know of these days when it comes to online marketing and stuff. And I asked if anyone knew about any real life 4-hour work week success stories. I don't have a goal of working at least, I don't have a goal of working only 4 hours per week. I'm not promoting idleness. Hard work is good, laziness is bad, just to be clear on that. But still, it is wildly fascinating, the whole concept of the 4-hour work week. Is it really possible? And if you're able to run a business in only 4 hours per week, if you have the skills to do that, imagine what you can do if you work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours per week. Mind-boggling. So I asked that Facebook group, and people were kind of laughing about it and like it was just a joke. So in other words, most people are not doing it. And even experienced online marketers thinks it is impossible, some of them. But when it comes to the whole online marketing industry, it is kind of scary. Of course, there's a lot of experts or self-proclaimed experts or people positioned as experts that are not really experts, or they are experts but in one specific niche, but not everything when it comes to online marketing. So my point is, finding the truth can be difficult, and also finding the success stories can be difficult. But yeah, I found a few of them. But yeah, what was really fascinating was that when I was interviewing people for community cash cows about those paid community success stories. One of the guys I interviewed a few weeks ago, I did not know this before I interviewed him, but during the interview, I discovered that these days he was working less than 4 hours per week and making about 18,000 euros in profit per month. Fascinating. And these days, his mom was sick, so he could spend a lot of time with his mom, help her out with hospital appointments, stuff like that. So to all of those people out there that claims that passive income or even semi-passive income is stupid and only for lazy people, maybe you should check yourselves. There are in these days of hustle culture, it almost sounds like everyone will always be able to work 50 to 90 hours per week without exceptions. It's stupid. Hard work is good, but there are periods in life, situations where things happen and people they don't have the option of working full time or overtime. So yeah, semi-passive income, it's possible. And when it comes to the 4-hour work week, Tim Ferriss basically explains the architecture for how to automate and systematize a business and use virtual assistants or freelancers to basically run an online business for you. But the thing with that, it requires, when it's a lot of variables, it's also more complex to get that whole thing to work, and there's more things that can break down and stuff. But still, there's a lot of great lessons in the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. For a long time, this book was the most highlighted book across all of Amazon.com, across all of the books on Amazon.com. I think it might still be, because there's a lot of nuggets and stuff in this book. There are some things I disagree on, especially his worldview and view on drugs and stuff like that. But if you want to learn about effectiveness and also cool concepts like ideal lifestyle design, stuff like that, it's a lot of great lessons. Another book about automating a business, or at least freeing up more of your time, is The E-Myth Revisited: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It, by Michael E. Gerber. In this one as well, there's a lot of solid lessons when it comes to how to free up more of your time and make your business systems driven instead of founder driven. Because a lot of people that start businesses, they want to escape the rat race. But what's actually ends up with a lot of people that want to escape the rat race and be an entrepreneur is that they actually end up becoming a self-employed person. So they kind of create their own rat race. So the freedom they were dreaming about never comes. And yeah, a lot of people get stuck in that for years. And the thing is, if you get really stuck like that, where you are not actually running a business, it's more like you are a business. And I think it can be a lot harder to scale as well. Because if you really have if you really have to work overtime all of the time, oftentimes the case is that you're working on urgent things. Urgent but unimportant, or urgent but at least not most important. So you really seldom have the time to work on non-urgent but important things. It's kind of a quadrant. If you read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, he brilliantly explains it, like that concept. But yeah, although these 2 books are great when it comes to lessons on that, the point I'm getting to is that one thing that is talked way too little about is the importance of business model, because it is a massive difference from business to business, from business model to business model. It's not just about how brilliant you are and how great of a system you have. Those are absolutely important, but it also has a lot to do with the business model. Let's take an offline example just to kind of illustrate this as a thought experiment. Let's say you want to have an automated source of income offline. You want to have passive income. And if you if you invest in a rental real estate apartment building with like 50 apartments, and you get someone to manage it and you rent those apartments out, if you take that as one option, then we take another option of buying a restaurant and then hiring people to run it for you, and you're going to take money from that, as you're going to use the profits from that restaurant as your income. Which one is most likely to actually work? Which one is most likely to be profitable? And which one is most likely to be generating you a predictable monthly income? Historically speaking, absolutely the rental real estate option. Because restaurants are known for requiring a crazy amount of work. Most people that own restaurants works like crazy. They also have pretty low profit margins, have an extremely high failure rate. And the restaurant businesses, are also valued very low compared to other businesses at the same revenue level. And there's also a lot of competition, a lot of manual work, hard to scale, a lot of disadvantages. So yeah, that's just an offline example to kind of compare things, to just prove the point that the business model is extremely important. Because when it comes to online business, especially for newer people, it can sound kind of the same. Oh yeah, so you make money online. Okay. No, online is massive. There's tens of thousands of options. So yeah. What is the kind of online equivalent, or the equivalent online version of rental real estate in the offline world? What's the equivalent in the online world? Well, I guess there is none really, because they are so different, so it's not, maybe they exist, but it's not an easy comparison. But if we think about monthly recurring cash flow requiring little time, and also increasing net worth, so that you're building both income and net worth at the same time, kind of like with rental real estate. Very different, but kind of like. So yeah, one option, email marketing, like I've talked about before. That's one. But also, yeah, email marketing, especially email affiliate marketing. That's one. And the other one is paid communities. And paid communities is really trending these days. But I don't think it's just a short-term fad. I truly think they are here to stay. And in these days with AI, artificial intelligence, the thing with AI is that it's probably going to disrupt a lot of businesses and a lot of jobs. There's a lot of online businesses that are thriving these days, but perhaps when AI becomes better, they might be disrupted and made obsolete almost overnight. So if you want to build an online business, a long-term online business that can generate a predictable monthly cash flow, a predictable monthly income, and also have a valuation be worth something, and also yeah, be basically robust enough and kind of AI proof enough to not be made obsolete by AI. One option I think is paid communities, because as these AI tools gets more and more used, I think people will actually be craving more and more that human connection, that networking effect, and yeah, kind of avoid a lot of those AI generated things out there. And when it comes to paid communities, most of them are built like subscription businesses, where there is a monthly membership, a monthly membership price, and that way it's pretty reliable, especially if you build it as a good community and you do things correctly, where the churn rates are low, meaning people stay a member for long without canceling their memberships quickly. So yeah, few variables. That's the point I'm getting at. Of course, there is the marketing function. You need to get members, but the thing is, when you build a community where, especially the version of a community where the community function itself, the value of getting access to the members inside the community, where that is a big part of it, and also when the structure inside the community is good, so that the members are happy, you're solving problems, you're providing value, the customers are getting served, then it can be solid and work long term. But yeah, my point is, then it's pretty few variables compared to many other things out there. Of course, it's the marketing part, but yeah. Once you have the idea for a paid community, you can basically launch it almost immediately and start selling memberships. You can start selling the vision and the idea and the concept of the membership in the beginning. Maybe you can start with a lower price for the first members and gradually increase it. But yeah, there's a lot of people online, especially in the online world, amongst online marketers. They're kind of chasing offer after offer after offer They are creating one offer that is converting and generating sales. And once that offer kind of stops working, they jump to the next thing and the next thing. If you build an online community, you kind of have the offer nailed down. And when you optimize it, yeah, it's basically about getting new members, and that's getting new members and managing the community. So yeah, it's a pretty when done right, it's a pretty elegant and simple business model. And once it is a subscription business, the valuation tends to be higher compared to other businesses that is not a subscription business. It's a trend these days. It seems to be that, or maybe not a trend, but it's one thing that appears a lot these days, especially on the Skool platform, is that people start selling the memberships to their paid communities as a yearly subscription instead of a monthly subscription. Why is that? Probably because a lot of them suck. There's a lot of paid communities that are not good, so their churn rates are high. The customers are not happy, so then they quit their memberships. And in order to get around that hurdle, those paid community owners are probably trying to sell people on a yearly membership instead. But yeah, I saw someone arguing that maybe it was Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens that did not want the churn rates on the Skool platform to be too high, because then it could affect the valuation of the Skool platform. I don't know, but that might be a big part of the reasoning. But yeah, when churn rates are too high, it's usually because the community is not good. So there are communities like that where people basically don't want to be a member anymore because it's not worth it. And that's probably why so many try to sell yearly memberships. But that does not in any way mean that all communities are overhyped and not worth it. It just means that there are some communities that are not worth it. And I think a big reason for that is that when it comes to the Skool platform, like I mentioned before, it seems that very much of it is basically online course sellers that are kind of repackaging their online courses and stuff, putting it in Skool and delivering it and selling it that way. So they are not really focusing much on the community aspect in and of itself. And when you are not when you have not chosen the niche to make your community in properly, then you know, that is a big part of it, why churn rates are high. Because you should try to focus on recurring problems that needs to be solved, or recurring needs that needs to be met, recurring desires that people want to fill, some recurring reason for people to become or to stay a monthly member, you know? And the thing is, when it comes to the Skool platform, a lot of them are focused on a lot of the same niches and stuff. And yeah, like I said, also kind of packaged as online courses and stuff. You know, I was member in one paid community, one of the ones I was member in. It was an online marketer, a very well-known one. And he talked about this and this was going to happen. Really hyped it up. I became a member. but it never really seemed to be happening much. And then suddenly, from time to time, I discovered, oh, there had actually been uh, a live video meeting, but why didn't I know about it? It wasn't really notified that good. So I ended up canceling the membership because what he was supposed to teach about inside that paid community, it never really seemed to happen. And he had positioned it where his teaching part was a really big part of the paid community. So it was actually very much positioned like an online course, basically. So yeah, even though there are paid communities that people find not worth it, there's also ones that are really worth it. But yeah, I think I keep repeating this, but I think one of the main things to look for is the right niche and categories to build a paid community in. So for example, instead of building a paid community about how to start a YouTube channel, that's more like a community for people that want to start a YouTube channel. So it's kind of aimed at teaching people how to do it. Instead of that, I think more of the bigger opportunities when it comes to paid communities is more like the angle of if we take the YouTube example again, it's more like for YouTubers with at least 100,000 subscribers in English or American. If you take that as the requirement to be a member, then it's very different because now, okay, so I have to have a YouTube channel with at least 100,000 subscribers in order to be a member. Okay, so so all of the members will have at least 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh wow, that's amazing. Because then I can do collaborations with other YouTubers inside the community. Wow, it's that's going to be amazing because a lot of YouTubers, they tend to be doing collaborations from time to time. That's why you often see YouTubers interviewing other YouTubers or they appearing as a guest, and then they do it both ways. And when they do that, both of them usually ends up getting a bunch of extra followers by doing that. So if you have a community with only YouTubers at least that level or above, then they can do a lot more of those collaborations, and they can learn from each other what thumbnails are working, how do they do things for the algorithm, titles, content creation, a bunch of stuff. So then it's not just a community about learning things. It's not like it's not positioned like an online course. Then it's more like an exclusive network only for people at that level. And once you are inside the network, it is helping you to perform at a higher level. It's helping you do collaborations, learn from other experts, being updated and in the know of what's working now, and have the option to get advice on very specific things from a bunch of other professionals, stuff like that. I hope I get my point across, but yeah, basically, a lot of people tend to be, especially on the Skool platform, a lot of people that are owning paid communities tend to be positioning them as a place where they are going to teach people kind of like a fancy online course, which can be great, but it's a way to narrow focus when it comes to all the potentials out there for paid communities. So yeah, the dream of freedom is possible. I'm absolutely not an expert, and I've not achieved it myself, but I've interviewed several people that are running paid communities. Like like the guy I mentioned I interviewed a few weeks ago. He's working less than 4 hours per week and earning about 18,000 euros a month in profit. So yeah, it's possible. But yeah, I guess I got a bit off track, but a bit more about that guy and that story. I keep rambling on here, but yeah, I've told that story several times on this podcast, but let me tell a bit more of it in this one as well. So yeah, basically this guy was from Germany and he just became an uncle, and he was thinking about the kid that he just became an uncle to. And I was thinking like, hey, this kid is going to be growing up in this modern world, with the AI, artificial intelligence. That's going to be so interesting. But hey, I'm an I'm an uncle to this kid. I should know about this stuff myself. You know, I should study AI as well, not just wait until this kid gets older. He was kind of reasoning with himself like that. And he was thinking about this new platform that he had discovered, school.com. And it was like, hey, maybe I should build a community about AI where a bunch of people can be gathered and we can kind of learn about AI. And he had a friend that knew a lot about AI. And almost immediately, he called his friend up on the phone and asked him if he wanted to partner with him on making a paid community about AI. And his friend was in on it. And I think it was the very next day, boom, they launched it. Immediately, they launched it. And then they started with a lower price in the beginning for the first members, and they gradually increased the price. So the first day when they launched it, I think it was something like 2 or 3 days, they already got a few members from people they knew and stuff like that. And then this guy that was not the AI expert. That's another thing. You don't have to be an expert to build a paid community. If you're going to be teaching inside a paid community and you're not an expert, you can partner with someone that is an expert, like this guy did, or you can hire people or interview people to teach on the community. Or you can build a community without the teaching from an expert aspect at all. But yeah, basically, this guy that was not the expert, he knew a list owner, an email list owner that had a big email list. And I think his email list was very engaged as well. But he didn't promote that much to his email list. So this guy approached him and basically made the deal of this email list owner promoting their paid community to his email list through a workshop. And they would pay him, I think it was 23% of recurring affiliate commissions for all of the sales that were generated through his email list. So they made a workshop. They got some sales and stuff, but the thing is, one of the guys, the AI expert, was kind of this workshop, it's not really performing as good as it should be. We need to change this and optimize it and make it better. But then this guy, the other guy that I interviewed, he just kind of stepped in and said, "No, we are not stopping this. It should be better. It should be optimized. Yeah. But it's working. We shouldn't stop it. We just keep going. And they kept going. So they had, I think it was 2 workshops per week that they made to this email list. That list owner, he promoted the workshops. People signed up to the workshops. On the workshop, they talked about AI and they sold memberships to the paid community. That was basically pretty much their entire membership acquisition process. Pretty much that was the entire way they got members. And in a few months, they had hundreds of members. Interesting. And the last few weeks, I think the last couple of months, something like that, the other guy that he partnered with, the AI expert, had some kind of challenges in his personal life, stuff like that. So they hadn't run that many workshops and stuff lately, but still they had hundreds of members, and the members were so happy with the community, so the churn rate was low. It wasn't many of them that canceled. And I think it was yeah, there was also a referral aspect. That was also a way they got members. So members inside the community talked about the community, and it also got new people to sign up. So even though they had not been running many promotions to that email list with the workshop lately, they still stayed pretty much at the same amount of members per month. And these days, he was working less than 4 hours per week and making both he and his friend was making about 18,000 euros in profit each per month. And the list owner of that email list, he was making around 10,000 euros in profit per month, even now that they were not running promotions, because it was recurring affiliate commissions. So the list owner was super happy about it. The owners, I mean, not the owners, but the members of the community was really happy about it. And the owners were happy about it. So yeah, a win-win-win. So roughly explained, that's how he did it with, or how they did it with their paid community. So yeah, the dream of freedom is possible, and the 4-hour work week is possible. Even though there are a lot of naysayers and negative people about the 4-hour work week, at least it's possible. Even though my dream would be more like a 4-hour sleep week than a 4-hour work week. If it was possible to work only 4 hours, I mean, if it was possible to only sleep 4 hours per week and still be healthy and perform optimally, that would be a dream for me, at least for a long period. But yeah, even though I want to work a lot more than 4 hours per week, like I said, I still find the concept just wildly exciting. Because if you're able to make a 5 to 6 figure profit per month while working only about 4 hours per week, or what I call semi-passive income of working about 1 to 15 hours per week. It's interesting, because if that's possible, it means that maybe you can do several things. Maybe you can build a paid community in addition to things you're already doing. Or maybe you can have it as a cash cow that are enabling you to do other things. Or maybe you can build a paid community, and instead of doing the minimum, you can work a lot harder and a lot more and try to scale it, optimize it, getting several traffic sources, stuff like that. You can work a lot more if you want to, but you can know that you have the option to, at least in periods, you can work a lot less and have it as a source of semi-passive income if needed for periods, for example. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, business model, it's a big one. You know, back to the example of comparing rental real estate to a restaurant in the offline example. You have kind of scenarios like that in the online world as well. I guess I'm repeating myself, but there are a lot of people that are dreaming about freedom because there are different reasons why people start online. But when it comes to online marketing, online entrepreneurship, online business, it's often the case that people want to escape the 9 to 5 rat race and live a life of freedom, financial freedom. Maybe they want time, income, and location independence. But what ends up happening is that they kind of create their own rat race that is even harder and more stressful than it was working as an employee for a boss in a job, you know? So you have a rat race as an employee, but there's also a rat race, a kind of rat race in entrepreneurship as well. And a big part of that when it comes to how easy it's going to be to build a systems driven online business compared to a founder driven one. There are systems, procedures, strategies you can use. Yeah, it is. But the business model also has a tremendous impact on how easy and realistic and fast you can do it. So yeah. And a paid community is definitely one option where semi-passive income is possible in a win-win way. And compared to rental real estate investing, that usually requires a lot of capital when it comes to starting a paid community, you can basically launch it for free, which is exciting. Because if you find yourself trapped in the matrix of the 9 to 5 rat race and you want to escape, maybe you don't have that much money. So you can launch it on the side as a side hustle. And then gradually, as you increase your income, you can change to quit your job and keep scaling it. Yeah, and that's one more point about choosing a business model that's easier to automate. The thing is, if it's easier to automate and a lot easier to manage, then it might be easier to start and scale as well. Because if it is a business model that is very elegant and requires few things, like you sell memberships and you manage the community, and it's a subscription model where if the members are happy, they're likely to continue to be a member, especially if you have built the community around some kind of recurring reason for they to stay a member. You know, if that's the case, and it can be managed in like in less than 4 hours per week in some cases, then it might be easier to start a business like that as a side hustle if you only have a few hours per day after your day job to work on it. Then it might be an easier option than something else where, for example, if you were trying to be a consultant online, and if you tried to stop your day job as a consultant, where you not only had to create the offer and promote the offer and sell it, but you also had, once you had sold it, your offer, you also had to deliver on it and do a lot of manual work as well. Something like that would be, in many cases, a lot harder to do as a side hustle because it would require so much time. Whereas if you sold memberships to a community where the community itself was the main product, and it was also a subscription business where you could not just start from zero every month, but you could kind of build and snowball it and gradually scale it up from week to week, month to month. So yeah, a lot of advantages to it. And on top of that, also compared to, for example, the consultant scenario, is that a paid community would require a lot less skills as well. So yeah, a lot of advantages to it. Yeah. The 4-hour work week, it's possible. I'm not promoting idleness. I don't think people should be automatically striving for passive income as their first option if they're not even working. So there can be a lot of unhealthy things around that. I totally agree, but like I said, there are scenarios where semi-passive income is needed. But yeah. Anyway, if you want to learn from those real life success stories that I've interviewed about paid communities, you should check it out on communitycashcows.com. And maybe you can maybe you will decide to try to build your own community cash cow. And if you decide to join the community, you can also connect with a bunch of other builders of paid communities as well. All right. Check it out on communitycashcows.com. Take care. God bless.